Welcome to the first ever Spraggy speedrun. Tonight in Monte Carlo, there's a poker tournament. It's a €1,000 buy-in where the blinds go up every 10 minutes. There's €500 bounties on every player. I'll be taking those. It's gonna be quick, it's gonna be fast. We're gonna show you every single hand until I either win or I bust. Let's go, the tournament's about to start. I'm in the small blind. We're playing 100, 200. My opponent raises to 600. I will take a flop, please. I have the queen and the jack. Big blind gets out of the way. We're heads up to the flop. I check on jack 4-7. My opponent goes for a continuation bet of 1,100 chips. Having flop top pair, we're going nowhere. We could raise, we could call. We decide with our kicker we're just going to call 1,100 in the middle. Turn is a 6. I check in flow. My opponent thinks for a little while and checks it behind. The river is a queen. We make two pair, a very strong hand. I decide after checking back, he probably doesn't have too much. So I check again, trying to trap him, but he checks back very quickly. We table top two. We're going to win a small pot, but every hand counts in a hyper, and we're off to a good start. We are still playing 100, 200. The gentleman to my right raises to 700. We've got ace jack of clubs on the button. We're going nowhere. We could 3-bet. I don't really want to 3-bet, get all these chips in. And we go 3 ways to a flop because 888 Pro Vivian Saliba is coming along in the big blind as well. 3 players, 3 cards. Jack 10 deuce, two-tone, very nice for me. Top pair, top kicker. Vivian checks. Original raiser checks. Lots of draws out there, lots to get value from. Strong top pair, top kicker. I'll have myself a value bet on the flop. We go for 1,100. 2 quick folds. Another pot headed my way.
I feel like I'm going to need a coffee. Long road ahead. 52 runners so far, 2 eliminations. I'm not one of them. Still got start and stack, and I'm loading up on caffeine because it's what it takes to win, my friends. That's what it takes to win.
And don't forget, we're playing for €8,950 up top, plus as many of those 500 bounties that we could get our greedy little hands on. That could as much as double my total score in this tournament. And of course, we're playing for that all-elusive EPT trophy. Okay, it's a hyper turbo, so the blinds are now up to 200, 400. Important to note that this is a bounty tournament, so it's 1,000 buy-in, 500 to the prize pool, 500 to the bounty pool, which means that when it goes raised to 800 and then all in for 6,900, and I start with over 20,000 chips, I want to get in there quite wide. There's a good chance that I cover the original raiser and we go 3 ways for 2 bounties, so I reshove quite a speculative hand, some might say. 7-4 of spades. Unfortunately, one of the players folds, so we're only heads up for the bounty, and my opponent has ace-queen, a tough hand to beat, unless you simply make a straight on the turn. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There comes that bounty flying into my seat. €500 locked up. All the chips headed my way. Skill game, 7-4, making a straight.
I had a good feeling, you know?
Yeah.
I had a good feeling.
Sometimes
lucky. I played a really great hand, played it really well. Went all in with 7-4, made it straight. We got 1 bounty. Yes, €500 back.
We are now playing 300, 600. I raised to 1,200 with the jack and the 10. Player in the small blind calls, big blind gets out of the way. We're playing 6-handed, raising jack 10 here. Think it's good. Want to get in there. We cover a lot of people at the table, play for those bounties. The flop is a dream. Yes, king, jack, jack. The small blind checks to me. I think I want to bet my entire range here. Very easy board for him to miss, so I'm just going to bet very small. We bet 700, as we would with all of our hands. Opponent quickly calls. Turn card, bingo, full house. Not going to be losing this one. All we want to make sure now is that we get the chips in over turn and river and get that bounty in play. I go for 3,200 after my opponent checks, and fairly quickly he picks up chips. I'm very excited. All we need is a safe river. Pretty much anything except for a king, and we'll always have the best hand. We'll always be able to be all in. My opponent has about 6,800 chips behind. The river is an 8, and now we can go for it all. He checks, and of course, we've only got 1 move. If he calls, we're going to win his chips, but also a €500 bounty. I'm all in. He doesn't look too happy about it. We're begging for a call. Begging for a call. Come on, buddy. Folds at the river. We pick up a nice pot, but the bounty eludes us. But so far, it's one-way traffic.
New table, folks. 25k chips, still just the 1 bounty. We're hanging in there, okay? We're hanging in there.
Blinds are going up. We are now playing 600, 1,200, and we've got a very interesting situation because the player in the big blind is all but forced all in. Their entire stack is committed, and of course it's a bounty tournament, so knocking them out is worth €500. Please give me a hand. I look down. I've got pocket 9s. The player 2 to my left, under the gun, has heaps of chips. He's got mountains of chips. He has everybody covered. And he's got his eyes firmly on that bounty prize. I'm begging for him to shove. I'm begging for action. I'm begging for a raise. I'm begging for something. And finally, he announces all in. Fold, fold, fold. We're going with our hand no matter what. But it will be our tournament life on the line as well. As our chips make their way into the middle, we have to win the main pot against the big stack. He tables queen 5. He's really after that bounty. Player in the big blind has ace 8. Gotta fade a queen. Gotta fade an ace. 1 bounty on the line. A lot of chips in the hyper. Jack 6-3 is safe. The turn is a sweat. Queen 5 is open-ended. But we dodge. And we're picking up a €500 bounty. And a massive pile of chips. Good game to our buddy to the left. Slide him over. We're right back in it.
Wow. Much needed break. Got these two bad boys locked up. Nobody can take this away from me now. 500, 500. Paid 1,000, got 1,000. Pure profit from here on out, baby. 45,000 chips coming back to 1,500 big blind.
The great thing about the Hyper Turbo is that the bounties come thick and fast. The short stacks get shorter very quickly, and we've got an all-in of just 7,500. I've got Jack 10 suited in the small blind, and at 1K 1,500, that's just 5 big blinds. I reshove, trying to isolate the short stack. Big blind takes a peek. We do not want action. This player has me covered. It would be my life on the line. Please fold. Please fold. Please fold. He's reaching for chips. I'm getting nervous. I'm getting scared. He's getting a count. He's going to realize he covers me. It could be 2 bounties for him. We need him out of this pot. We need him to lay it down. I only came here to bounty hunt. I don't want to get hunted. Yes! We are heads up. Jack 10 suited. Beautiful looking hand. Ace 7, table by my opponent. I've had some history with that one myself. We need a good flop. We need some help. It's a 10 high board. €500 headed my way before. Disaster. An ace. But hope. Yes! A jack on the river. 2 pairs is good. The chips are mine. And another €500 bounty. Okay, with the blinds now up to 2,500, a little bit of an unusual action from the player in the cutoff. He's coming in for a limp. Wants to see the flop for cheap. The small blind completes, and I'm lurking in the big blind. I will check my option with the 10-7, and we are off to a flop. Jack 10-3, we pick up a little something something. I don't necessarily think I need to lead. I'm more interested in what's going on with this limper, and the dealer nearly deals a turn. He quickly stops, because this gentleman wants to bet 4,000 into the pot of 10,000. Once the small blind moves out of the way, we have second pair. We do cover for a bounty. I'll be seeing a turn card, please. Might need a little bit of help. And boom, help is immediate. A 7 gives us the 2 pair, but a very drawy board. 2 flush draws, straight draws. And our opponent sizes for 4,000 again. I kind of feel like a real hand is going to go bigger to protect. Maybe he's not completely confident, but with so many draws out there, I elect to ship it all in the middle, and he quickly calls. I table 2 pair. Let's see what we're up against for this bounty. 7-9 of diamonds. It's a huge draw. A flush draw, a straight draw. We need to fade the world. Come on, give me that brick. And it's a deuce of spades. We are home safe. That is my 4th €500 bounty of the tournament. We only paid 1,000 to get in, but more crucially, the biggest pot we're going to win of the tournament, we're dragging in nearly 100,000 chips. And this speedrun is really starting to take shape.
Huge. That man had a lot of outs too. He had 7-9 of diamonds. We had to fade. Well, I had the 2 pair, but I had to fade a straight draw and a flush draw. Black deuce on the river. 4 bounties. Lots of chips. 16 left, 9 paid. Going very well. What could go wrong?
Okay, blinds are 1K 2,500. We've got Jack 9 suited on the button. We'll be raising it to 5,000. No need to go more than the minimum. Player with a lot of chips defends in the big blind. We're off to a flop of 9-7 deuce. Very good. Very clean, good top pair. We're going for a value bet of 5,500 on the flop. We're quite deep relative to the other stacks of the table, so I do have to be careful playing a big pot with this player. He just calls, and the turn is an ace, which of course is going to slow us down. I do anticipate him floating the flop with a lot of his ace highs. So I decide to take a step closer to showdown. We check behind. The river, the 8 of hearts. And without too much thought, my opponent checks again. I think if he has an ace, or if he has a better hand, he's going to bet. He doesn't want me to check behind. This is the green light for me to try and get some value with our 9. He shrugs his shoulders, Table's 5 high. He has a busted draw. He didn't bluff the river with it, but it does mean that chips are coming my way, and at this point, we cover the majority of players at the table, which means all of the bounties are in play. Here we find ourselves, final 2 tables. We're getting down to it, and Andreas Froley is all in for just 12,000 chips. We're playing a 3k big blind. It's 4 BBs shoved. We have to call Queen Deuce offsuit, playing for the 500 euro bounty. He's got 5-7 of spades, a very special hand in Monte Carlo.
5 and 7 of spades. A straight flush.
He flops a pair, flops a flush draw. We need a queen. We don't find one. The bounty eludes me. Andreas is going to double up. We'd like people to bust. Nothing personal. We're just very close to the money on the bubble. 11 paid. But Andreas, for now, is going nowhere.
I believe it's a stone bubble. One more person to bust. But I just had a little bluff and someone went all in. I had to fold, so we might make it, we might not.
Okay, 10 players left.
10 left. 10 left. 9 to the trophy.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
A very exciting final table. Here's the state of play. 65 runners, 9 left. That's me. And if you come over here, I'll show you what we're playing for. Here are your payouts. A reminder that the payouts you see on your screen are exclusive of bounties. That is to say, we're going to win whatever we cash for here, plus however much we make for bounties along the way. That is a number that currently stands at 2,000 euros. Good luck, us.
Here we are then, the final table where the lights are on brightest. 9 players remain. We come into this thing 7th in chips. And what we're dealing with in a Hyper Turbo bounty tournament is quite a top-heavy structure. We're not going to be looking for too many ladders. We're very incentivized to try to play for first place. So on the first deal of the deck, I get the King Jack. And as my opponent starts sizing up my stack, I already know that we're probably going to have to call it off if he makes a move. And before you know it, my opponent moves all in, I snap it off, but we're very quickly shown the bad news. Having played for 5 hours, it's all come down to this. Our tournament life is on the line, the very first hand of the final table, and absolute disaster on the flop. The window card is an ace. We are in big trouble. Or so we thought. Underneath the 2 sweetest cards you will see in your life, Ace, Queen, 10. We flopped the goddamn nuts, and right now we're going nowhere. But the turn always brings a sweat. Our opponent has a heart. No heart dealer. A 10 on the river sees us safe. We're not only staying alive in the tournament, but we're getting a massive double up. And it's game on at the final table.
Parker, please. This is a final table, sir. It's a serious event. First hand at the FT, jams, blind blind. I call King Jack of diamonds. Here's Ace 6. Ace window, Queen 10.
Very easy.
So with my opponent left short, after I took all of his chips with the brutal King Jack, we're playing 4,000, 8,000. He's all but committed into the big blind. I raised to 16,000, and much to my surprise, everybody else at the table folds, which means that we're going to be heads up against a very short stack. He's already committed. He's all in. There's a 500 euro bounty on the line. I table Ace Jack, he shows me King 9 suited, and we just need to hold, not only for another 500 euro bounty, but to ladder up and have just 7 people standing between me and EPT Glory. The flop is safe, it's 8-6 deuce, but the turn is the sweatiest cards in the history of sweats. The 7 of spades means that my opponent is now open-ended, has live cards, and has a flush draw. 1 card to come, don't do it to me, dealer. A repeat 8 on the river, a tap of the table, another 500 euro bounty, and we are down to 8 players in the Hyper Turbo. Things can turn quickly in the Hyper Turbos, and this gentleman in seat 2 was chip leader as we came in, but now he's all in with King 10 against Ace 10. We are rooting for a ladder. It's nothing personal. Show me more money. Ace 5 deuce. Long way to come back from that. Boom, we're down to 7 players. Okay, the action moving thick and fast at the final table. A very short stack. Committed all in. The player behind him re-isolates, going for that bounty, and all of a sudden, we've got a 3-way dance. Player on the button reshoves his stack, covering both players. We want the short stacks to lose. Ladder me up, baby. Queen Jack versus Queen 7, and Ace 10 way out in front, but on the flop, a Jack. 9-4, safe run out. The Queen 7's dead, the Queen Jack's doubling up, just like that, we're down to 6. We are down to 6 players. We're playing 5k, 10k. I'm sitting on roughly 146 1,000 chips, but my hand here quite irrelevant. There's a raise in front of me to 20,000. There's an all-in behind the raise on the button for over 200,000. And before you know it, the player in the small blind commits all his chips. On your backs, gentlemen. It's pocket queens versus pocket tens, and we're still very much rooting for eliminations. No 10 on that board, please, dealer. It's going to run out safe, and just like that, we're down to 5. And here we go. We're playing 6k, 12k. We've got about 160,000. Off just 12 big blinds, we're going to raise it to 24 with the ace and the queen on the button. A premium hand. And without much delay, our opponent ships it all in the small blind. Right now, I've got a big hand. I'm excited to dominate my opponent who's all in and potentially move towards the chip lead. But all of a sudden, a spanner in the works. My opponent in the big blind ships it all in. This is a man who I could have taken out earlier in the tournament. I had him within my sights. I had Jack 10. I had a full house. I put him to the test for all of his chips. But now, the predator has become the prey. It's my life on the line. My situation has gone from exciting to terrifying. I need him to be able to ship ace 10, ace jack. But does he even have those hands? Does he have enough flips? Does he have sevens? Does he have eights, nines, tens, even jacks? We've played with him all day. He's been quite tight. If I get this right and I hold, I'm going to be chip leader of the whole tournament with just a couple of players left. But if I get it wrong, this has all been for nothing. This is yet another moment where the EPT trophy escapes me. Sometimes, deep in these moments, you got to go deep into the tank. And eventually, despite having just 10 big blinds and ace queen on the button, my hand hits the muck. My disappointment, however, is very short-lived, because whilst the small blind has ace deuce and we have him dominated, the third-party big blind has pocket kings. If you want to win an EPT trophy, if you want to complete the speed run, sometimes you got to dodge bullets. And right here, we dodged a very big one indeed.
Okay, it's happening. We are down to 5 players. That means there are just 4 between me and the trophy. We have these 5 bounties locked up. That guarantees us 2,500 plus 2,500 in bounties. We got 5k locked up, but it's the trophy we want.
Having had his stack destroyed at this final table with ace deuce against pocket kings, the player to my left is now all in with just 5 players remaining. It's our third party player, previously with the kings, and now with the jacks. The sun run is real, but we're still rooting for bust outs. We're rooting for no queen and for the jiggities to hold. It's king 9-4, a 5 on the turn, and a 7 on the river means another elimination, and it means that we are 4-handed. And there it is. Metaphorically, that trophy has been in my sights for years, since I started playing poker. But right now, it's close enough to touch. It's close enough I can taste it, and just 3 players stand between me and taking that fabled EPT trophy back to Gloucestershire. And as the button opens, we're dealt ace 9. I move the rest of my chips into the middle, and I'm deathly afraid when our nemesis, the villain of the piece, moves all in behind me. After some deliberation, the button folds 5s. I think I'm in big trouble, but as I table my ace 9 delight, we're up against king queen, and we're in great shape for a double up. If I can take a chip lead here, I feel myself a favorite to take home the whole damn thing. Dealer, just let us hold. 7 in the window, but behind it, bad news, devastating news. A king, an 8 on the turn, no salvation. And whilst it's delight for my opponent, this speedrun has come to a crashing halt.
Devastating update, folks. I'm out in 4th for 3,500 plus bounties for a grand total of 6,000 euros, but they just brought the trophy out onto the table. I just got super excited. You've just seen the bust out hand. We got it in good. What more can you do? Thanks very much for watching. Very successful start to Spraggy Speedruns. We'll be back. More hypers, more speedruns. Subscribe. Thank you.